Celebrating 30 years of phenomenal trend forecasting, 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. Here's Gerald Celente with today's trends in the news.
Hi, this is Gerald Celente, Thursday, March 12th, 2015. And here are some of today's trends in the news. Well, the big news is on the market front. Whew! Markets are up today on 260 points. Yeah, straight up. And Earl, woof, pop, pop. You got West Texas down over 2%, and Brent's not looking so good either. And gold is basically flat, up a couple of bucks. So why is the market going up? On the good news, retail sales fall for the third straight month. Yeah, remember, 2/3 of U.S. GDP is buying stuff, consumer base, because hey, they sold out our manufacturing, so all we do is buy and go into debt. Sales declined 0.6%. Economists expected a 0.4 increase. And think about it. Remember all those job numbers that keep coming out that are showing growth in retail jobs? I don't know who's making this up. How can it possibly be? We had down retail numbers in December, down in January, down in February, and every time they come out with a jobs report, they're hiring in retail. So that's why the market's going up. The other reason is they're saying, hey, if these retail sales are bad, maybe the Fed won't raise interest rates so fast. That's why the markets are going up. That's the sick psychology they're using. Screw everybody else. As long as they can keep getting that cheap money to keep the Ponzi scheme going, everybody's happy. And they're happy over there in Asia as well. That's right. The Nikkei is at a 15-year high. As the economy keeps sinking lower, the people keep earning less, but the equity markets are doing great because of Abenomics. That's how you say Ponzi scheme in Japanese. Yep. Asian shares rose on Thursday as an unexpected rate cut in South Korea. Isn't that something? The Bank of Korea surprised markets by cutting its base rate for the first time in 5 months by 25 basis points to a record low of 1.75. And that makes it the 24th bank this year that has lowered interest rates. Isn't that something? 24 central banks have lowered interest rates to keep this thing going. Think I'm kidding you? Right here in the Financial Times, bloated valuations arrest aging U.S. bull run. Entering its 7th year, the aging U.S. equity bull market looks vulnerable. Rising concerns about the outlook for U.S. equities reflected lofty valuations and expectations of higher interest rates. In the past, the combination of rich share prices during periods of tighter monetary policy has proved challenging. Isn't that nice language? Yeah. The markets have gone up because of these low interest rates, period, paragraph. There's a global slowdown. Right here in China is one of them. This is why all the markets are up all across Asia. China's slowdown hits global growth hopes. Chinese industrial production, regarded as a good proxy for broader economic growth, expanded 6.8% in January and February from a year earlier. It's the slowest reading since records started in 1995. Weakening Chinese demand is one of the main causes of falling global commodity prices like oil and copper, and the problems that are happening in all these other countries. Big riots coming up in Brazil this Sunday. Let's see how they play out. China expanded at its slowest pace since 1990 last year, contrasting with the decades of double-digit growth since the late 70s. The IMF has now cut its GDP estimate to 6.8% this year, down to 6.5% for 2016. And you ready for this? They say that China has a debt-to-GDP ratio of 282%. Ponzi, cheap money. The other reason the markets are going up today? Banks ready to shovel money. That's right. The who's who of big banks rolled out massive stock buyback plans as soon as they got the government nod to do so. Citigroup landed with a $7.8 billion stock buyback, followed by J.P. Morgan Chase at $6.4 billion, Morgan Stanley $3.1 billion. Stock buybacks are an indirect way to give money back to shareholders. By buying company stock, there are fewer shares on the stocks outstanding, which in theory makes each share more valuable. So that's why the markets are going up. Half of the market growth in the United States has to do with companies buying back their stock. So the stocks are going up on the good news. More pleasure for Ponzi. And it works. Commerce Bank to pay $1.45 billion in U.S. deal to settle claims that transactions with certain clients ran afoul of U.S. sanctions and money laundering laws. Oh, money laundering laws. Got that money nice and clean, right? We take these violations very seriously and deeply regret the actions that led to today's announcement. Commerce Bank CEO Martin Blessing said in a statement. Blessing, yeah. I wonder if Blessing knows breed love. Oh, yeah, we take these violations very seriously. Damn it, we got caught. Hey, but no heads will roll. Blessing got the blessing, man. Just pay us a little dough. You did $253 billion worth of dirty deals. Give us $1 billion bucks, and we'll make it look like everything is okay, that we did our job as law enforcement agency. Quote, what is especially disturbing is that employees sought to alter the bank's transaction monitoring system so that it would create fewer red flag alerts about potential, you ready? Misconduct. There she is. She showed up again. Misconduct. Yeah, walking the streets, Wall Streets, which highlights a potential broader problem in the banking industry, said Benjamin Lawsky, the superintendent of financial services for New York. Lawsky, yeah, the lawyer. Lawsky, blessings. Oh, Maron. What a joke. What a joke. And good news over there for them Ukrainians. IMF plans $10 billion in new aid to Ukraine. The IMF said the Ukrainian economy should grow 2% in 2016. You know what that is.
That was bullshit.
It's the IMF. It's all bullshit, man. It's the International Mafia Federation. Here's the so-called deal with the IMF. You're not supposed to loan a country that's bankrupt more dough on top of the dough you already loaned them, or a country that's at war. But we'll change the rules, man, because that's what we do of us peoples that are in charge. Like Lawsky over there in Blessings. Slap on the wrist, no fine, but you make sure you toe the line. Don't get out of line. Obey the letter of the Lawsky. And the IMF, hey, we could do what we want for whoever we want. It's disgusting. It's one big scandal on top of another. Yep. Monetary Fund has agreed to pump in $10 billion into Ukraine's troubled economy. The fund's board on Wednesday approved the loan of $17.5 billion, with $5 billion likely by the end of the week and another $5 billion in the coming months. It's going to be up. That's how much dough they're dumping in to an economy that's going nowhere and a country that's only at war. And there's a guy that knows how to fix the Ukraine problem. That's right. If I said anything like this, man, whew, would I be getting hate mail? But hey, I'm not a retired general. Robert Scales, yeah. Maybe a F minor on the scales, huh? A retired U.S. Major General and Fox military analyst provided his view on the U.S. involvement in Ukraine, describing it as a game, set, and match situation. What a simpleton load of baloney. It gets much better. Lou Dobbs, the host, asked him, wanted to know more about U.S. involvement in the world, and asked the retired Major General to comment on the recent announcement that the U.S. would send 3,000 troops to Eastern Europe, and to what effect that would be. Quote, goes F minor on the scales. I think to no effect, Lou. It's a game, set, and match in Ukraine. The only way the U.S. can have any effect in this region and turn the tide, you ready for this, is to start killing Russians. How about that? I wonder why the nation's nuts. Why cops are killing everybody. Oh, and 2 cops got shot today in Ferguson. Ferguson, a place that nobody would ever heard of before. Because of madmen like him, where killing is cool. Hey, I'm really good at killing people. That's your President, Obama. If I said something like that, this Celente's a maniac. Mr. Celente, lower your voice. Don't be angry. Speak like Scales, and no one will think he's out of his mind because he says it so properly, along with Lou Dobbs. Gets better. Killing so many Russians that even Putin's media can't hide the fact that Russians are returning to the motherland in body bags. But given the amount of support we've given the Ukrainians, given the ability of the Ukrainians themselves to counterattack, to get seized by the 12,000 Russians camped in the country, sadly, that is not likely to happen. Sadly, it's not likely to happen that they won't be sending Russian boys home in body bags. What a wonderful nation. And if you think this guy's out of his mind, I got a better one for you. Right out of there in Israel. Lieberman. Yep. This guy is the foreign minister. Yeah. A Russian Ashkenazi, not a Semite. So if I say anything about him, you can't call me an anti-Semite. And here's what he said. Those who are against us, meaning Israeli Arabs, there's nothing to be done. We need to pick up an axe and cut off his head. How about that? Didn't make the American news. Wonder why. Don't understand it. How about this for lunacy and hypocrisy? America condemning other nations for their crazy people when you got them at home and you got them over there. Could you imagine if an Arab or an Iranian head of state said, those who are against us, there's nothing to be done. We need to pick up an axe and cut off his head if they were speaking of Jews? Whoa! Then it'd be in the news. But hey, Arabs, Palestinians, what's one head? 2 heads, 1,000. This is Gerald Celente, and that's some of today's trends in the news.